morning, my name is Toby Pagano. Yesterday on June 8th, I spent 6 hours on the ground documenting the anti-ICE protests here in Los Angeles. This video is going to serve as a chronological documentation of these 6 hours. I'll be using Google Maps in conjunction with my footage to try and show exactly where I was and how the LAPD utilized crowd control to push and maneuver protesters throughout the city and provide you, the viewer, with a frame of reference to understand where we are at this point in time. Alright, so I arrived on Temple Street at 2:20 p.m. as the crowd moved towards the federal building where people were being detained by ICE. Soon, LAPD pushed protesters back using rubber bullets or less than lethal rounds to the intersection of Temple and Alameda, where we stood for about 3 hours. At this time, LAPD used their officers to create barricades on Temple going east and on Alameda going north to push us back from the federal building.
You want a shooter, huh? That's why. You want a fucking shooter.
Things were pretty quiet during this time, and there weren't any organized attempts to try and gain ground towards the federal building. At one point, a man rode his motorcycle through the barricade in Alameda before immediately falling off his bike and being beaten by the police with batons.
They're pushing. Oh shit, they're kicking that guy right there. Fuck. Damn.
I was sort of getting the impression that things were going to slow down and kind of come to an end. And then the cavalry showed up. With additional officers on foot and the cavalry leading the charge, the police that were barricading the intersection began to move forward and push protesters back through Temple westward.
Alright, they're shooting rubber bullets. They pulled up on fucking horses. You know, it's just into the crowd. They're trying to break it up.
At this time, the fire of rubber bullets became a lot more frequent. I saw multiple injuries from protesters as we were pushed up to Los Angeles Street and Main Street.
They've completely cleared us out. We were all the way down there just 5 minutes ago. They run up on horses. The moment the horses got here, I don't know, they started rearing and bucking, and then it's just been, oh, damn. Yeah, it's just been rubber bullets.
This is where things get complicated, because the push by police caused a fracture within the crowd and resulted in people all over the intersections of Los Angeles and Maine. This is where I noticed a much larger population of protesters that originally were not at the relatively quiet Temple and Alameda congregation. I have no idea where they were originally, but what felt like a few hundred people at the centralized location of Temple and Alameda turned into thousands, possibly tens of thousands of protesters that were scattered about the place.
Now we got a large amount over here, super scattered. Holy shit! I don't know why we're fucking celebrating, bro. That was on our side. They're coordinating. This guy's about to shoot right here. Firework right there. Shit, right next to that horse. LAPD's gonna get freaked out because they got people on both sides. We're less powerful because we're all fucking segmented. Yeah, all these cars fucking stand still. Shit, people are starting to push back. Fuck, dude, the protest is now Because of the LAPD, they fucking scattered us. Now we're in homeless areas, bothering all these homeless people. It's fucked. God. I'm nervous to get up here because I feel like we're gonna get fired on. Here's what the rubber bullets look like. Damn, all the horses are organized. LAPD has crazy crowd control. They were able to clear everybody from over there. I don't know, they're throwing stuff, bro. I don't want to be involved over there.
Hey, stop throwing shit.
Poor Staffordshire Terrier is probably freaked out of his mind. Horses have pushed through. I'd say this is the biggest concentration of people, so I feel like the horses are gonna group up, probably start pushing this way. Damn, looks like one of them is limping, dude. People are carrying barricades now. This is where the horses were just minutes ago. And now they've turned it. Oh, damn, dude. Hey, are you hurt or are you just laying down? What do you think about all this? It's crazy. Holy shit. That's a beer bottle. Yeah. I mean, it's fucked. Imagine these people in their cars, dude. 20 minutes ago, this place was shut down. Now, they pushed into this is all civilian area, but they pushed into an area that was previously not. I guess they're trying to control traffic right there. Damn. Oh, dude, that guy's tire got flattened.
The area we were pushed into by LAPD was not ready for such a large amount of protesters. Cars on Temple and Los Angeles Street were stuck in the road as LAPD half-heartedly tried to conduct traffic. People were stuck in their cars as rubber bullets, water bottles, bricks damaged their windshields and flattened their tires.
There's a fire over there, holy shit.
So at this point, I noticed smoke to the north, and I headed there to check it out. This is where those 5 Waymo cars were burning, all in a line at the intersection of Los Angeles and Arcadia. Thick black smoke blotted out the sun. The heat was crazy. Here's Saddam from Channel 5 reporting on the cars.
I was really curious. I wanted to do that.
Yo, that guy up there, he got shot. I got a picture of him.
Really?
Yeah, he got shot with a rubber bullet. Looks beautiful, man.
Thanks, bro.
I hiked down to the 101, which was completely blocked off headed north. On the south side, about a dozen police cars were parked with officers underneath the overpass.
That Waymo's a fucking husk. 5 destroyed Waymos. Sorry, Mom. I know I told you I was at the coffee shop. I was taking a rocking chair video. I kind of got distracted. I'm all safe. I haven't thrown any bricks. I've been nice to everybody. So, and I don't live with you anymore, so you can't ground me. But all good.
Topside, there were barricades of officers on Alice Street headed east. Soon after, I heard large booms back at the intersection of Temple and Main. It was crazy. I mean, just the reverberations of these explosions it could be anything from rubber bullets to tear gas to fireworks from the protesters. reverberated and echoed throughout the city. There was still a large concentration of cavalry and ground officers there who began firing in every direction, but they had a concentration on protesters that were on Temple Street. They were attempting to gain ground and create more of an area around City Hall.
Minutes ago, an unlawful assembly was just declared.
Everybody on City Hall is going to go to jail. Get off the step with City Hall.
Are we on City Hall? That's City Hall.
That ain't going to work.
Damn. That guy's got to feel so powerful just fucking yelling down from the sky. Like,
around this point, I think a guy got trampled by a horse, and there was a woman who was struck in the head with a less than lethal, and she started bleeding pretty bad. Some people got to her and began applying gauze and pressure and gave her water, but she was nearly incoherent and really dazed.
But she cannot walk, and there is already meds that he uses. No. Look at us!
After moving her about like a quarter of a block away from rubber bullet fire, we began asking for medical assistance from the police. They eventually carried her off and put her on a curb waiting for an ambulance. At this point, I believed that any medical aid would be a long way off because the ambulances would have a really difficult time driving through these streets. I decided to leave as there was nothing more that I can do, and the woman had friends with her. I walked back down to Aliso where you could still see the light haze of the burning Waymos. The park squad cars in the 101 were still there and were in pretty bad shape as a lot of items were thrown on them from above.
what was originally like a few hundred people at Temple and Alameda, it is expanded. I'm probably 3-4 blocks up. Been like 2-3 hours maybe since the cavalry pushed us from that spot. I mean, there are thousands of people. That's where the Waymos are. It's now faded into a light haze.
Eventually, the police underneath the overpass came out in heavy gear and began firing rubber bullets to dissuade any further damage to their cars.
It's weird, dude. Like, people are smiling. This almost feels like cathartic.
It was at this point I saw a group of like 5 people carrying the woman from before who was hit with the less than lethal up Aliso Street, meaning they carried her almost 2 blocks. I put my camera down and I helped carry her to a car on Spring Street, which then drove her to the hospital. I don't know her status, but I truly hope that she's okay and recovering. Walking on Broadway, I headed to Grand Park, and then I headed down to Spring Street, where a large group of protesters was engaged with the police directly in front of City Hall.
All right, Grand Park. This is the heaviest concentration of people I've seen in probably like the past hour. Another standoff with the police. They're using those pink barricades. What the fuck is that gonna do?
There was a pretty consistent fire of rubber bullets as the police were trying to break up this pink barricade that had been set up. I got some shots from City Hall before they started deploying tear gas. It was at this time, with no protective equipment against the gas, that I decided to leave and depot my footage.
That's tear gas. Fuck. The moment they threw tear gas, dude, that barrier was done. Holy shit, this is so beautiful. You paint this?
Yeah, myself.
What's the title?
Mother Mary.
It's fire, man. How long did it take you to make that?
About a week.
Beautiful. What are you gonna do with it?
With it, I'm gonna show it to the cops over there, bro.
Show them. Have a good one. Be safe.
You too.